But right now we're looking at how you can adjust to an alcohol-free life due to the ban on alcohol. It's not the first time it's happened. Last night, during the family meeting, President Cyril Ramaphosa announced an extension to the ban on the sale of alcohol. And the ban on the sale came into effect initially on the 28th of December when he adjusted the lockdown levels from 1 to 3. So this isn't the first time that South Africans have had to go without alcohol. How are you coping? I remember some time back, it was at some point in the lockdown earlier on, in the first wave of the ban, Sikonathi Mantshantsha posted a tweet, saying that he's now taking his drink with a spoon. So that last bottle of your favorite, whatever it is, you might have to drag it out. You might have to make it just stretch a little bit longer by having it with a teaspoon. Well, from a spoon to a teaspoon now, because you wanted to stretch and stretch and stretch and stretch that favorite bottle of brandy or vodka or whatever it is, that glass of that bottle of wine, because we still don't have the sale of alcohol. So you might just have to take it with a spoon or a teaspoon, just for taste. Just for taste. But apart from that, made me remember that funny post from him. But apart from that, we do need to talk about how alcohol is used to network. People use it to de-stress, to relax, to socialize, and for many as well, to sleep. So in light of the ban on the sale of alcohol, what can you start doing in order to cope with not being able to turn to alcohol, if this is how you were using it, or if you want to change your relationship with it, if you want to completely stop, if you want to moderate your drinking, or just shift your relationship with it? And who better than Janet Gourant, the founder of World Without Wine, to guide us through this conversation? Janet, thank you so much for talking to us this afternoon.
Hello, Azania. It's a pleasure. It's my pleasure.
Every time the president says anything about the sale of alcohol, you can hear off in the distance lots of grumbles, echoes of grumbles from people who are absolutely disappointed. And over the years, you've been assisting lots of people moderate their drinking or become sober. And for many people, this particular dry period is actually not a choice. Do you imagine there's a lot of stress and anxiety as a result?
Yes, and I think, Azania, that we've all got to work on our mindset a bit. There is a lot of grumpiness about. I've seen it, I've heard it, but let's maybe see it as an opportunity, because I think that the alcohol ban has made it easier to stay safe. And surely everybody's priority has to be to stay safe from COVID at the moment. Mm-hmm. And the key to that is to have a strong immune system, isn't it? And alcohol damages our immune system. And there was an experiment by a British doctor that I wanted to mention. It was very recent, I think it was last week. It's been televised. She just drank 3 small glasses of wine, and she had a blood test before drinking and after drinking. And the efficiency of her immune system has been cut by a massive 50%.
Just from 3 glasses?
We don't want a compromised immune system at the moment, do we? So I think the motivation should be huge.
But we use alcohol as a means of dealing with stress. And I think there's no getting away from the fact that this is a stressful time.
Absolutely. But the thing about alcohol is it might numb that stress for a short time. But in fact, it's been proved that alcohol ramps up our anxiety levels. There's a meme that really sums it up. It just says, drinking alcohol is like pouring gasoline on our anxiety. And we're all anxious enough as it is. So without the alcohol, admittedly, it might take a while to get used to it, but without the alcohol, we're going to be calmer.
Without it, we'll be calmer, which we might not realize initially.
Exactly. And it's a great way to test our dependency as well, because if you're climbing up the walls without alcohol or really struggling to get through it, then that proves that there's a bit of an issue there, and you will need to make some changes. Because 20% of social drinkers will become dependent over the years. And it's very sneaky, it just sneaks up on you. And before you know where you are, you can't imagine going a day without a drink.
Yes.
So we always advise people, even if they don't want to give up drinking, just to take regular breaks, like a medical checkup. Just check that they're not falling dependent.
So what, to reset the drinking pattern?
Yeah, absolutely. And then when, the alcohol ban is lifted and you start drinking again, then perhaps you can drink within the safe levels. And the safe levels are a mere bottle and a half of wine a week or 6 beers. So it's not very much. Drinking more than that on a regular basis will put your mental and physical health at risk.
What if we don't want to confront the reasons why we turn to alcohol? Because we also don't talk enough about that, about why, for instance, when the alcohol is being sold, we see the kind of trauma cases in our hospitals, why we have the levels of binge drinking that we have in this country. When you look at the levels of drinking across the world and where South Africa ranks, we've spoken to people like aware.org who have told us that we are we are 6th, I think, in the world. And so do we talk enough, in fact, about or do we address enough the reasons why there is a need to numb?
No, I don't think we do. And I think, alcohol's become so normalised in our global society. It's not just South Africa. But we do need to have more of a discussion. And one good thing I think that this alcohol ban has done last time and indeed this time is it's proved, hasn't it? It's been like an experiment. It's proved what damage alcohol does to South African society. The fact that the hospitals, the trauma units empty when the alcohol ban is introduced. It practically empties overnight. It's like turning a tap on and off. So that there's really something huge to address there. And of course it's so difficult because so many jobs and the economy rests on that. So it's a massive balancing act. Yeah. But for individuals, I'd say try and see this as an opportunity rather than a problem. See it as a bit of an experiment, because in a way, a lot of the usual pressures that we get when we try to stop drinking, they're not there. We don't have to socialise because we can't. So we don't have to explain to everybody why we're not drinking, because, of course, alcohol is the only drug we have to justify not taking. And it is a drug, and that's why people miss it so much.
I like, as you say, that we can use this as an opportunity. So we're resetting our drinking pattern, and we are also looking at the level of dependence, coming clean about the level of dependence on alcohol. And what else forms part of maximizing, taking advantage of this moment?
Yes, it's a great opportunity to get more healthy, isn't it? We can't do much, but we can certainly exercise. Mm-hmm. So going outside will release the same kind of feel-good hormones as we get from the booze, and it clears your head. And it's there's plenty of alcohol-free drinks around at the moment. There's more than 100 alcohol-free choices. So go and stock up on those, and you might find something that you really like. Many people now, they drink alcohol-free beer. It's in a bottle that looks the same. To me, it tastes exactly the same as beer. So it might just be an opportunity to really improve your health. And, of course, you're going to get some sleep, because when we drink, we only get 2 cycles of REM sleep a night on average. Non-drinkers get 7 cycles, and that's like the deep restorative sleep. So if you've been drinking for years, you've got a real level of fatigue there that's been building up. So you could come out of this period feeling refreshed, unhealthy, and having discovered some nice alcohol-free drinks. It could change your life.
So for those that aren't familiar with World Without Wine, how did you come to establish this organization and get into this work?
I established it because I had a drinking problem, and I went to AA, but I couldn't kind of find my people there. It didn't work for me. So then I went to a workshop in London that was just a one-day workshop, and it did work for me. And I analysed why it worked, and it worked because I connected with other people like me. There were women with good jobs that were drinking a bottle of wine a night. and I could relate to those people. So we stayed in touch, and I got sober. And then I thought, well, I've got 25 years of experience in corporate training and development, so I'm going to create my own workshop. So I did, and that's how it started 5 years ago.
So it's this network that provides support. What have you been seeing? You know, are there any patterns or any insights you can share since the start of the pandemic?
Sure. You know, we're running a January challenge at the moment. It's a fundraiser, and all the info is on worldwithoutwine.com. What we do is we give people support. We put them on a WhatsApp group with the other challenges, and we send them an email every day. So we find, you know, to answer your question, we find that people are very apprehensive about giving up alcohol. They think, oh, I'll never have fun again. I'm going to lose all my friends. So we help them to work on their mindset. And we've now got so many people that are just thrilled to be alcohol-free. Today we even celebrated 2 soberversaries. So we've got, I think between us, we worked it out the other day, we've got 100 alcohol-free years.
I've just heard a new term for the first time, writing it down, soberversaries.
Yes, it's like a birthday only.
Exactly.
You gave up drinking. Oh, it's a big day.
Yes.
I still remember my first. I've had 5 now.
And not regretting it, loving everyone. So I want to invite calls. Janet, do give us a call. How are you coping? Or maybe the lockdown has forced you to shift your relationship with alcohol, because this isn't the first ban on the sale of alcohol that we have experienced. And so every time we see that outrage that plays out, so how have you utilized this time to address your relationship with alcohol? I'm so curious about the kind of change it's brought about, the kind of awareness it's brought about. You can give us a call on 011-883-0702, 31702 for your SMSs, and then your voice notes and your WhatsApps on 0727021702. Any awakenings, any insights about your alcohol relationship due to the ban on the sale of alcohol?
702.
WhatsApp Azania on 072 702 1702.
Hi, my name is Merlene, and I'd just like to quickly pop in to say that I have been with World Without Wine since the 1st of September 2019, when I made the decision to do a Sober Spring Challenge with Janet. And today I am still so...
Oh, something happened to that voice note. Let's get back to the lines. And we've got Joe as well calling us from Benoni. Hello, Joe.
Hello, Zanya. My name's Joe. I'm an alcoholic and I belong to AA. So, you know, I just want to, in addition to to WOW, there is also a vehicle for recovery for folks who are struggling, you know. So it's not... and I'm sure that with the restrictions on alcohol, there's a lot of folks out there who are struggling.
Yeah.
But if people just visit our website, they can find out where all our Zoom meetings are and at what time. We have Zoom meetings every single day, and that recovery vehicle is available to them if they feel they have a problem with alcohol.
Yes. And what about people that don't have access to platforms like that? It must be, there must be a lot of people falling through the cracks.
Sure. There's a national helpline number, of which I don't have it on me right now. Okay. But I can always phone back later with that number and give it to your folks who are helping you run the show. That's certainly. I'll leave the details of the website as well as the national helpline number. Then folks can phone in.
You do that, Joe. Because this is also a time when I'm sure it's hard to stay the course. Are you seeing relapses?
Sure. Well, I'm sure there will be a few folks who may relapse because, you know, it's easy to give up alcohol, but it's the trick is to stay away from alcohol. And our program of recovery offers you as kind of a lifestyle. Our 12-step program offers you a lifestyle that assists you in staying off the alcohol.
Right. Joe, thank you very much. And we look forward to you giving us those details, and we'll share them.
Fine. Thank you very much for your time.
Joe in Benoni from Alcoholics Anonymous. Janet, is it necessary, you know, to then replace for instance, what would have been a ritual, part of the day, that moment in the day when you're accustomed to having your glass of wine. Should we, in order to cope as a strategy, do we replace it with something else? Do we replace the habit with something else?
Yeah, well, there's two kind of approaches to that. There's a nice thing we use. We say keep the ritual but change the ingredients. So maybe, at 6 o'clock have an alcohol-free wine rather than your usual wine. But also, if you're giving up alcohol, it really makes sense to reconfigure your life a bit. Shake up those routines. Otherwise, you'll feel like something's missing. So what I used to do is at 6 o'clock every evening, when I would normally open my bottle of wine, I just used to go for a long walk. I'd go out to walk for an hour and I'd be listening to music. And I'd feel, completely different when I got home, and the craving for alcohol would have gone.
Right. So let's play another voice note before we conclude this conversation.
Okay.
Hi, Azania. I'm a little bit ashamed to actually send this note. That's how much dependent on alcohol I am. I just got myself 2 bottles of wine just down the road from me. Made an order for a whole case of Heineken for Friday and 2 bottles of whiskey. So also to say to the president that, when people are hungry, they're going to do anything to make sure that there's food in their stomachs. These guys sell alcohol not because they want to defy the law, because they're hungry. Children are hungry, and we are there as dependents of alcohol to support them. So there it is. We get alcohol as and when we want.
Speaking to the fact that the consumption is ongoing in spite of that ban. Janet, if you could please give us the website details as we conclude.
Sure. Just simply worldwithoutwine.com.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. It's great talking.
Thank you. And we'll also share the details that chose to send to us, Janet Gourant, the founder of World Without Wines, because just listening to that voice note, the reality is that this is a really complicated issue. For some, it's as clear as day, it's straightforward, and for others, it's just laden with so much complexity. On the one side, you see organizations like the South African Alcohol Policy Alliance. They're calling on all South Africans to support and honor the continued ban on the sale of alcohol. And they're also calling on SAB to withdraw their legal challenge to government's decision to temporarily suspend the transportation and sale of alcohol. And then on the other side, appeals from the Beer Association of South Africa. They've slammed the extension. They've cited just frightening figures that 30% of alcohol breweries have already had to permanently shut their doors. And this is affecting 165,000 jobs. And then, on the other side of the equation, people like our listener who sent us that voice note saying he has a dependency, and that's why he sees this ban, the suspension on the sale, as unfair.